All right, guys, so first test right out of the gate, concrete challenge. Most people use a pressure washer to pressure wash their driveway or do general cleaning around their house, like their fences or, tools or whatever you're cleaning with. But I came over here, I did an 8-foot by 4-foot rectangle for each one of these 3 different pressure washers. So we got the Troy-Bilt, Greenworks, and Ego. These cicadas, I hope you can hear me over the cicadas. They're all over the place. And honestly, this is the test where I expected gas to shine. I didn't use any surface cleaner attachments. I used each one of these pressure washers as the tool manufacturer recommended for concrete. So with that gas pressure washer, I used the 15-degree nozzle tip, and honestly, not super impressed with the results. As you can see, it looks like a zebra. I mean, I did as best I could to overlap without, just blatantly giving it too much effort. So I honestly was not that impressed with the gas. With that Greenworks corded option, honestly, I was shocked by the results with this one. Was definitely not expecting it to have the same stripping power as the gas, but as you can see, it's clear. I walked at the same pace, basically did the exact same technique with this side as with this side, but this side I did use that turbo nozzle, but that's what they recommended. So as you can see, it looks awesome compared to that gas. And then the third one was that Ego battery powered pressure washer. Again, that's one that I did not expect to do well, but as you can see, definitely better than the gas. Really weird, but with that turbo nozzle tip and the turbo button pressed on that unit itself, it did a great job of stripping up anything on my driveway or my neighbor's driveway and really lifting it off super well. So I would give the win to the corded electric option. Second place is going to be the Ego battery option, and then third is the gas powered option, which is just wild to me. And again, this is not a test on like the Troy-Bilt gas pressure washer versus that Ego, pressure washer. This is just to kind of give you a flavor of like an average type pressure washer in each one of these sections, what they'll do for you. All right, guys, so obviously a super important aspect of a pressure washer is how well it cleans. Or cleans. It's also important that it is able to clean for a long time. So I got 2 fully charged batteries, a full tank of gas, and the electric model is plugged in. So I'm gonna see which one of these lasts the longest. All right, guys, so they all got started at 1240. All right, I'm gonna check the Ego, see how close it is to dying. 2 battery life left. People ask me what I do for a living now that I'm full-time lawn review. Stuff like that. So I was not expecting that, but it is 110 and the gas died. 1020 and the Ego died. So we are done with the Ego and the gas. Just gonna see how much longer this will run for. Nah, I'm just kidding. I know it'll last forever. One thing that really irks me about tool brands, and I explained this earlier, is just like the mental or like advertising ninja gymnastics that they jump through on some of their advertising claims, like the PSI, for example, the pressure or pounds per square inch that a pressure washer is pushing down on a surface, or GPM, gallons per minute. They're all testing these things under extremely favorable conditions for their brand. And I get it. I mean, I don't know if I do the same, but what I want to do is test these under normal conditions and let you know exactly what results I get. I also don't think it makes sense to look at PSI and GPM independent of each other. A lot of these brands like scream PSI, like 3,200 PSI, which is great if you're comparing just PSI to PSI. Yeah, I get that. There's a whole other equation in this, which is GPMs, like gallons per minute. That's kind of like how much water is moving through the pressure washer. You really need a good balance of both. Actually, pretty important to have high GPMs, and some of these brands just don't mention that. So anyway, there's a way to kind of like marry those two measurements into what's called a cleaning unit. And basically what you just do is the PSI times the GPM, and that gives you a CU, or cleaning unit. So how effectively it actually cleans the surface. So the PSI that I got out of the gas was actually 2,400 PSI. And then that Ego pressure washer gave me 2,900 PSI, and the Greenworks was actually 2,800 PSI. And the GPM for the gas pressure washer was 0.97 GPM, so actually ridiculously low compared to what they say it is. And then the Ego was about 8.84 gallons per minute. So again, lower than advertised. And this is where things got weird. I was trying to do the GPM test on the Greenworks and it just died. it never turned back on. I couldn't get it to work. It would maybe work for 5 seconds and then cut back off. And I've seen that a lot in the comment section. This might not happen for you if you use this tool, but it happened to me. So it kind of sucks, but I've reviewed this in the past and I actually have the numbers on hand for what it did back in the day. It's not doing that right now, obviously, but it did 0.994 gallons per minute. So that was actually the highest out of all of them. So with those numbers, that GPM and PSI multiplied together, the actual cleaning unit of that gas pressure washer is 2,328 CUs. And then the Ego was actually 2,436 CUs. And the Greenworks actually, based on historical data, came out at 2,783 CUs. So it actually appeared that the corded electric, when it was working, worked the best. I don't know, you take it for what it is. I'm just giving you the honest results of like what actually happened. And then looking at the user experience of a gas-powered pressure washer, obviously it's a little bit more involved. You have to deal with the oil filters and spark plugs, you name it, you have to deal with gas. But when you get it up and working, it basically functions the exact same as the other tools, but honestly the user experience of the gas was more difficult than say the corded electric or the battery powered. Honestly, in my opinion, I thought that the corded option was kind of annoying, having to deal with just another cord that was getting tangled up with that hose. It was a real big pain, honestly, to move around. My favorite one to use was actually the Ego. Now, it didn't perform necessarily the best, so to speak, in all the different tests, but it was really fun to use and really easy to manage and finagle. And then that turbo button was nice. The ability to throttle it down, it would have had better run times if I had throttled it down, but I'm, you know, an American and I let it rip, son. So that's what I tested it with. You would actually get better run time with this tool if you used it not on turbo mode. But let's be honest, I was always gonna use turbo mode. All right, guys, we're about to have a tornado here in Nashville, looks like. So I'm gonna wrap this one up pretty quick, but for me, this is my personal recommendation to you. I wouldn't buy a gas-powered pressure washer. Anything that requires a gas-powered pressure washer, like maybe your entire driveway, if you have a big driveway, is gonna require a PSI that's like 4,000 PSI or something like that to get it done quickly and then a high GPM. Those are gonna be a really expensive unit. But I would actually, I know it's kind of weird, but I would recommend the battery-powered pressure washer more so than the corded, just for the ease of use. I mean, there wasn't a huge difference between the GPMs and PSIs of both those units, but the cord, dealing with that, wrapping around the cord for the wand and then the cord for the hose, or hose, whatever, it was just like way nicer to use, way easier. And I mean, 60 minutes of runtime, you're not using that turbo mode. To me, I'm like, yeah, definitely. Most jobs could be totally handled by that tool. And what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna come back with a hose and just compensate for that low GPMs. You're stripping it up real well with that turbo mode, but then you just come back with a hose. You've already got the hose out there. You come out there with a spray head and just spray off where you pressure washed. It's not that big of a deal. So that's my recommendation to you. And guys, if you're looking for a comparison video on gas versus electric mowers, check out this video. And then if you're looking for a comparison video on a whole bunch of weed eaters against a gas weed eater, check this video out. Until next time, keep cutting. We'll see y'all again. We're going to the basement.